Hello everyone and welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Today I want to talk about the boat which our royal family use. Our Queen was very famous for using her boat, Her Majesty's Yacht, Britannia. That's what it was called, Her Majesty's Yacht, Britannia. It's very common for boats to be referred to as she. If you ask any fisherman, or indeed anyone who works by the sea, they often refer to their boat as a woman. I suppose it's kind of in the same way as farmers here sometimes refer to their animals as he or she. And we often do that with pets as well. Her Majesty's Yacht Britannia, that's HMY Britannia, also known as the Royal Yacht Britannia, is the former royal yacht of the British monarchy. She, the boat, worked from 1954 until 1997. And she was the 83rd vessel since King Charles II, and he was around in 1660. And it's the second royal yacht which had the name Britannia. There's also a warship, I think, called HMS Britannia. You see, military ships, those in the Navy, are generally called Her Majesty's Ship Britannia, for example, or Her Majesty's Ship something, because obviously the Navy, supposedly at least, reports to the Queen. Well, the King now, because our dear Queen has passed away. However, her own boat, we replace the S with a Y, so it's HMY Britannia. Now, the last one was from 1954 until 1997, as I mentioned a moment ago. And that one is permanently docked, or I think we can use the English word berthed. It's like Berthed in Edinburgh. It's a popular visitor attraction. But if you're ever in London, if you go over Waterloo Bridge, you'll see one of the older royal yachts parked there as well. I'm assuming that must be the one before 1954. It would be much more decadent. You know, the Queen and Prince Philip, when they were both alive, actually lived very modestly. Although they lived in these huge palaces, a whole chunk of that palace was made into their royal apartments, and they were very modest and small. It was just like a little apartment that you and I might live in, and the rest of the palace was for tourists and for official functions. So it's the same with that boat that ended its days in 1997. If you visit, you'll see that the Queen's bedroom on that boat was actually very small, surprisingly. It wasn't quite as luxurious as you might expect. Her Majesty's Yacht Britannia, the one that was put out of service in 1997, was launched in 1953, which I think is the year after our Queen became Queen. Britannia was also used during the war. It was turned into a hospital ship, but it was never really used. It's a beautiful big boat. I seem to remember when I was younger, Prince Charles going on boats and taking with him actors and authors that he liked. Him and Camilla used to go to the Caribbean on royal yachts and invite celebrities to go with them. Oh, very interesting. I don't know if he used the the Britannia yachts for that, but he was known for his outings with literary figures. Well, I'm telling you all of this because it seems that the government had a plan to build a new royal yacht, and that was due to be finished in, I think it was 2024, and I want to tell you a little bit about that. In December 2019, there had been talk that there was going to be one. The king, that's Prince Charles, had suggested that perhaps he could lend money for it to be built. Of course, it would have been the Queen in those days, in 2019. In May 2021, or you can say 2021, Boris Johnson had announced that it was certainly going to be constructed, and the new boat was to be called Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. He said it would be a new national flagship rather than a luxury yacht, and that it would go into service in the next 4 years. Well, of course, because of COVID, that didn't happen. And apparently the royals were not very happy about it, and some other people as well, apparently. You see that the government and the royals have to agree on things. This is part of our history. They had a civil war in the old days, the English Civil War. The king's supporters and the government supporters. This was around the time the government was being organised. And they finally agreed that they would stop fighting if the government did not do anything without the king's authorization, and that the king would not do anything without the government's authorization. And that's how they resolved it. So these days, all documents that get signed off in Parliament have to be signed off by the Queen, and also the Queen's timetable, her schedule, where she goes and what she does, have to be signed off by the government. So it's quite political. Anyway, they had all decided in the government there was going to be a new boat, but it was not well received. I think it was something to do with the name. It says here, I'm just looking at a historical document, it was reported that government plans to name the ship after the Duke of Edinburgh were not well received, and that plans had become abandoned. But by 2022, plans had progressed and they were about to allocate money to a builder. And this morning in the news, it's been announced that that's not going to happen, that there will not be any new yachts. The reason being that it was going to cost up to 200 million, and our government at the moment are desperately trying to save some money. The current, not the current commanding officer of the ship, but the last commanding officer of the ship was someone called Commodore A.J.C. Morrow. Commodore, it sounds very posh, doesn't it? Commodore, I've never heard that as a title before. Do you remember the Commodores? Lionel Richie's singing group. Oh yeah, Lionel Richie and the Commodores. Or was that the Temptations? Oh no, wait. Anyway, this man's title is Commodore. And it says that he joined the Royal Navy in 1962. And he was appointed with a Queen's Medal after the boat in 1997 was put out of service. Oh, lovely. Very nice. So, I'll need to go and check who Lionel Richie sang with. It was either the Commodores or the Temptations. I think it was the Commodores. But what a name, Commodore, before your name, Commodore blah, blah, blah. Can you imagine Commodore Commodore Teacher McTaggart's, or would that be Teacher Commodore McTaggart? Wonder which one's more important. Anyway, I can't even swim. No, I don't think I'd be okay on a boat, to be honest with you. Yeah, flying's so much more convenient. And that boat was very old, which must have meant it was very cold, no? I think if it was from the 50s. Looks very beautiful, though. Looks very beautiful. I think there's a few of their old boats still around. They're definitely, one at least is on the Thames. The other one's in Edinburgh, the more recent one. So, yeah, sometimes when you're walking around London, one just kind of pops up. I think there's a warship on the Thames as well, which is for naval purposes. It's a little museum, very beautiful. Lots of boats on the Thames, especially down by the aquarium. This is South Bank. It's called, I think, that area near Big Ben. There's lots of tourist attractions on boats around there. Embankment, that's it, yes, in that area of London. Okay, that's it from me. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.